Yeah, good evening, friends. So my name is Basavaraj, training officer from National Skill Training Institute, Trichy. Okay. So today we will be discussing about digital electronics. So in digital electronics, I have chosen the topic that is combinational circuit and sequential circuit. Okay. So this is part of the syllabus for electronics mechanic as well as IoT students. Okay. So now, let us start with what actually a combinational circuit and what actually a sequential circuit. So here, combinational circuit is a circuit. It's a digital circuit. Combinational circuit as well as sequential circuit. It's a digital circuit. So combinational circuit is a circuit where the output depends only on the present state of the inputs. Okay. So examples of combinational circuits are so. uh, So examples of combinational circuits are adders, multiplexers, decoders, encoders. These are the examples of combinational circuits, or you can call it as combinational logic. So in all these circuits, the output depends only on the present state of the inputs. So the other circuit that is very important, the other circuit in digital electronics is sequential circuit. So in sequential circuit, the output depends okay, the output depends on the present as well as the past history of the inputs. Okay, so this is the major difference between a combinational circuit and a sequential circuit. So I repeat it once again. Sequential circuit, here the output depends on the present as well as what the past history of the inputs. So examples of sequential circuits are flip-flops, latch, registers, counters. All these are examples of sequential circuits. So here these combinational circuit and sequential circuits, these are very important circuits. These are used in almost all the processors and microcontrollers. So you can see that these are nothing but what, these are an integral part of processor as well as microcontrollers. So this is very common circuits which is present in almost all the electronic circuits. Okay. So before we jump into discuss, before we start designing some combinational circuits or sequential circuits, some prerequisites are required. So what are those prerequisites? We should have a clear-cut understanding of the logic gates. So what are the logic gates? So these are the basic things that we have been studying since school days, like AND gate, OR gate, NOR gate, and universal gates like NAND, NOR, and the XOR gates. All these gates we have to be very. So let us start with the basic AND gate. Okay. So these are the very basic things that we have been studying since school days. Okay. So here the AND gate. Okay. Here right now here you have a 2-input AND gate, 3-input AND gate. Right now I have chosen a 2-input AND gate. So here A and B are the 2 inputs and Q is the output. So what is the one unique feature of an AND gate? So the output Q will be equal to 1 when both the inputs A and B are 1. Okay, you can just see here in the truth table here, the output Q is 1 when both the inputs A and B are 1. If any one input is 0, then the output is 0. So you can see the other cases here. A is equal to 0, B is equal to any one input 0 means what? Output is 0. The second case you see here, A is equal to 0, B is equal to 1, again the output is 0. And the third case, A is 1, B is 0, again the output is 0. So what is the conclusion here? The AND gate, if any one input is 0, the output is 0. Okay. So this is about a AND gate. So now let us move to the next slide. Okay. I won't be spending much time on this basic gates. These are the very basic things that we have learned. Okay. Next gate is about OR gate. So here I have chosen a two input OR gate. Here A and B are the 2 inputs and Q is the output. Okay, and Q is the output here. Here, what is the thing that what is the one unique feature about the OR gate? See here, the output will be 1 if any one input is 1. If any one input is 1, the output is 1. For example, here if A is 1 means what, the output will become 1. Any one input is 1 means the output will become 1. So here you can see here any one input here, so the second row 0 and 1, any one input is 1 means what, the output is 1. The third row you see here, any one input is 1 means what, the output is 1. And the last one, both inputs are 1, the output is 1. So the output will be 0. Here in the OR gate, the output will be 0. If both inputs are 0, then the output is 0. This is about a OR gate. So why I am telling all these things? Because using these basic gates itself, we are going to design more the flip-flops, multiplexers, decoders, encoders, the combination, as well as what? The sequential logic circuits. Okay. So let us move to the next slide. Okay. That is NOT gate. So NOT gate, sometimes the people will call it as a inverter also. So here what is the one thing, if you give input as here A is the input, if you give the input as 0, the output will be 1. If you give the input as 1, the output is what? It is 0. So here that 0 and 1, these are nothing but I will call it as what? Logic 0 and logic 1. So one thing I just want to tell here, logic 0 means it doesn't mean 0 volt. Some range of voltages will be there. Logic 0 means it could be what? The voltage from 0 to 1.7, 1.8 volt, I will consider it as what? Logic 0. And what is the logic 1 means what? Somewhere around from, for example, 3 volts to 5 volts, I will call it as what? Logic 1 signal. Okay. So here zeros and ones, these are nothing but what? Logic 0 and logic 1, or else the other way is what you can call it as a binary digits. Binary digits means what? It will be having zeros and ones. Your computer understands only the binary language, that is zeros and ones. Next, NAND gate. So NAND, NOR, these are universal gates. What is the name of the universal gates? So universal gates means using these gates you can realize any logic function. It could be either any basic gates also you can realize using these universal gates. So NAND gate, let us not get into all these things. So our main motive is what? To discuss the combination and the sequential circuits. So here NAND gate, what actually a NAND gate here? So seeing the truth table here, what is the one thing that I can see here? Here, if any one input is 0, the NAND gate, if any one input is 0, the output becomes what? 1. Okay, that is the one feature of a NAND gate. So let us check this one here. For example, here A is any one input is 0 means what? Output is 1. The second row you see here, any one input is 0 means output is 1. And the third row you see here, any one input is 0 means what? The output is 1. And the fourth row here, if both inputs are 1, 1, then the output is what? It is 0. This is NAND gate. Okay. So knowledge of these gates, like basic gates as well as universal gates, is a must for understanding the next higher topic. Okay. So next, we'll move to the next slide. That is NOR gate. Just like an AND gate, NOR gate. Okay. So here also I have chosen a 2-input NOR gate. A and B are the 2 inputs and Q is the output here. So what is the one feature that we can see here? Just by seeing this particular truth table, I can tell that if any one input is 1, the output is 0. NOR gate. If any one input is 1, the output is 0. For example, here you see here, any one input is 1. Here B is 1 in the second row. B is 1 means output is 0. Here in the third row you see here, A is 1, therefore the output is 0. And in the last one, both are 1, 1 means what? The output is 0. So here you see here, A and B, both are 0, 0. Both are 0, 0 means what? The output is 1. So NOR gate is nothing but what here is just like a OR gate. At the output of the OR gate, you put one inverter. That will become a NOR gate. Just a NOR gate means what? Just opposite of OR gate. Okay. So now let us start with the and one more gate, that is XOR gate. This is also a very, very important gate, and this particular gate which is used very frequently in while designing full adders, half adder, and all these things. So XOR gate, what is the unique or the feature about the XOR gate is here the output will be 1. Here the output will be 1 when the inputs are different. If inputs are same, if inputs A and B are same means what? The output is 0. The inputs has to be different. If the inputs are different, then the output is what? It is 1. For example, here you see here in the row, here A and B both are same. So it doesn't matter whether it is 0 or 1. What is the one condition for XOR gate? Different inputs. The input should be different. Then only you get what? The output as 1. Here you see here, the first row A and B both inputs are same. Therefore the output is 0. Likewise, the last row you see here. Here both inputs are 1, 1. Both inputs are same. Even though they are 1, the output is what? It is 0. Okay. So if same inputs are there, the output is 0 for an XOR gate. So when does the output will become 1? When you have a different inputs here. You see here when here 0 and 1, A is 0 and B is 1. So when you have a different inputs, the output is 1. Again you see here the third row, A is 1 and B is 0, again the output is 1. So different inputs will give output as 1. So now using these basic gates, we will start designing the combination circuits as well as what the sequential circuit. So before we start designing the combination circuit, I just want to repeat what actually a combinational circuit is. Combination circuit means what? Output depends only on the present state of the inputs. Sequential circuit means what? Output depends on the present state of the inputs as well as what? The past history of the inputs. This is the major difference. Okay, let us start designing the sequential combinational circuit. So the example of combinational circuit is what it is, adders. The basic combinational circuit which I can introduce to the beginner, okay, to the target audience, that is the adder circuits, okay, adders, full adder, half adder, all these are what? All these are combinational circuits like multiplexers, decoders, encoders, okay. So let us see one adder circuit, okay. So here in adder, two types of adders are there. One is full adder and another one is half adder. So full adder means, what does it mean? It will add 2 bits. Okay. So here, so I'm not telling it's 2 numbers. It will add 2 bits. Okay. It will add 2 bits. And full adder means what? It will add 3 bits. That's the difference between a full adder and a half adder. Okay. So bits means what? Either it will be 0 or 1. 0 and 1 in digital or in computer world. What is the one thing? Byte means what? 8 bits. 8 bits I will call it as what? It is a byte. Okay. So bit I am telling, whenever I am telling the word bit, whenever I am telling bit means what? It could be either 0 or 1. Okay. Binary. It's all about binary. So let us see the schematic for a half adder. Okay. So here you can see the schematic for a half adder. So here, what is the one thing here? Just the block diagram I am showing. Here A and B, these are the 2 inputs. Okay, 2 inputs means here these are the binary digits you will be giving, either zeros or 1. It has 2 inputs and it has 2 outputs. The outputs are what? Sum and carry. This is the very basic thing that we have been learning since childhood. Whenever we do addition, what is the one thing that we'll get? We'll get one result, and as well as what is the one thing while doing addition, we have to take care of one thing, that is the carry. Is it correct or not? While doing subtraction, we have to take care of what? Borrow. So likewise, here also the same concept is applicable. The concepts will remain same. So here when you add A and B, you will get 2 results. One is sum and another one is what? It is carry. Now I told A and B. Here to the A you can give either 0 or 1. It's a binary digits. Okay, it's a binary addition. Okay, it's not a decimal. Usually we human beings are very much comfortable with the decimal. Whatever the numbers we are dealing as a normal common person, it's all decimal. We'll speak in decimal. But computers means what? It's always in zeros and ones. Here A is 0. Here A and B. These are the binary digits you have to give. So let us see the binary addition before I go for here. So the binary addition here, 0 plus 0. If I add, it will give 0 here. Okay. Next 0 plus 1 means what? Again it will give 1. 1 plus 0 is what? 1. 1 plus 1 if I add means it is 2. If you convert decimal 2 to binary, you will get the answer as what it is? 1 0. Binary digits means what? It will be only zeros and ones. Okay. So 2 will not come. Zeros and ones only. These are the binary digits. So 1 plus 1 means what? The result is what it is? 1 0. In this 1 0, what is the one thing? What is the one thing here? This particular 0 represents the sum, and the other number represents what? It is the carry. Okay. So this is the schematic for a half adder. So here the same thing I have represented here. One truth table I have written here. This is the inputs here, inputs, and this is the outputs. Here you can see here A and B are the inputs here. Sum and carry, these are the outputs. So when A is 0, B is 0, that time what happens? The sum is 0 and the carry is 0. When A is 1 and B is 0, that time what happens? The sum is 1 and carry is 0. If you want, you can see here 0 plus 1 is what? It is 1 here. So here sum is 1 and carry is 0 here. So likewise, when you add 1 plus 1, that time the result is what it is? 1 0. 1 0 means what here? This particular 0 represents what here it is? The sum, and 1 represents carry. So therefore the sum is 0 and the carry is 1. This is the half adder circuit. So now we have all the we have all the concepts about what actually a half adder circuit, as well as we know about the basic gates also. Now the question is, This particular block diagram, you have to implement it using some gates. Okay, this particular thing I can't tell it is a half adder circuit. We have to ultimately we have to implement it using some logic gates. Now the question is how to implement this particular half adder. Which gates I have to use? Whether I have to use an AND gate, NOR gate, XOR gate. So we have to think about this one. So now let us see here. For example, let us see here sum. You see here the sum. You see here this particular sum here. When both inputs are 0, 0, the output is 0 sum. Okay. When both inputs are 1, 1, the sum is what it is 0. Different inputs 1, 0 means what? Sum is 1. 0, 1 means what? Different inputs, sum is. So which is the which gate? So XOR gate. Just now we have discussed. XOR gate means what? If inputs are different, the output is 1. So here what is the thing that I want to tell? Here I am telling that we can implement this particular sum using an XOR gate. So let us see the diagram here. You see here, yes is equal to what here it is A, B. Okay, using XOR gate, I can implement what? The sum function. Okay, so this is one half adder. So this XOR gate will perform the addition. Okay, and this particular AND gate, it will take care of what? Carry. So just to go to the previous slide. Carry, you just see here carry. Here 0, 0, 0 and the last is 1. So this is nothing but what? AND gate. When both inputs are 1, 1, then only the output is 1. If any one input is 0, the output is 0. If any one input is 0, the output is 0. The same thing. Okay. So carry is implemented using an AND gate. So this is an example of a this is how we implement. This is we call it as a gate level implementation. Okay. So in the market, many ICs, integrated circuits are available for AND gates, XOR gates. Many ICs are available, and using those ICs, you can implement this particular half adder. Okay. So now next I told half adder, it will add only 2 bits, that is A and B. Now the question is next is what it is next the half next is what is a full adder. Full adder means what? It will add 3 bits. Okay. A, B, and one more bit is what it is carry in. So when performing additions from the LSB side, if I go means whenever carry is generated, it will be given to the next stage. We have to take care of the carry also during addition. So the next topic that we are discussing is what here it is. And okay, before that, half adder. This is the expression for the sum. Sum is equal to A XOR B and carry is A dot B. Dot represents an AND operation, and this particular symbol here it represents this is for XOR operation. Now full adder. Let us see the block diagram. Okay, full adder I told it is having 3 inputs A, B, and C in. C in is what? It's the carry from the previous stages. Okay, so next and it is having 2 outputs, that is sum and carry. Now here one thing that we have to see here. For example, here A, B, C, 3 bits are there. So 3-bit additions. Okay. For example, if I give here A is equal to 0 plus 1 means what here? The result is what here? It is 1, 0. In this 1, 0, here this particular 0 represents the sum and this particular 1 represents what? It is the carry. Okay. So likewise, the third one here you see here 1 plus 1 plus 1. When you add these things, the result is what it is. Actually, normal addition, what we do 1 plus 1 plus 1 means 3 ones means what it is 3. If you convert that particular decimal 3 to binary, you will get it as what 1 1. So here 1 is what here it is the sum and the other one is what it is the carry. Okay. So here this is the truth table for this particular full adder here. Okay. So here A, B, C in is what it is also the input. It is also the input. It is the carry in, and here is the sum. These two are what? These are the outputs. So here, for example, you can see here 0 1 1. So 0 1 1 if you do means what is the answer here? 0 1 1 means what here? 0 plus 1 means what it is? 1 0. Sum is 0 here. You see here sum is 0 and carry is what? It is 1. Okay. So the same thing. Now the question is how to implement this particular full adder. This particular full adder we can implement using 2 half adders. Using 2 half adders, you can implement one full adder circuit. Okay. So this is how we are implementing a full adder circuit. So here 2 half adders I am using. This is one half adder. This is one half adder. And apart from these two half adders, what is the one thing? What is the one extra thing that I'm using? I'm using one OR gate. Okay. So here the output of this OR gate will be what it is, the final carry. That is this one, this carry, this carry. Okay. So this C out represents the carry, and this is the sum, the final result. Here these are the inputs A, B, and C. Okay. Let us see the how this particular circuit will work. Let us give the inputs as what here. Let us give here A is equal to 1, B is equal to 1, C is equal to 1. A is equal to 1, B is equal to 1, C is equal to 1. When all the inputs are 1, 1, here you see here A is equal to 1, B is equal to C is equal to 1. That time what happens? Sum is 1 and carry is 1. Let us verify, cross check this particular bit here. Here A and B are the inputs to the half adder circuit. Half adder 1 here. When you give 1, 1 here to the half adder, what will be the output? 1 plus 1 is what it is? 1, 0. Okay, so sum will be what here? Sum is 0 and carry will be 1. So this is the output of this particular adder circuit. Now here you see here, this particular sum is going as the input to the second half adder. One more half adder is there. It's going as the input to the second half adder, and this Cn is given as the input to the second half adder. So this one is coming here and this 0 is coming here. 1 plus 0 means what does it mean here? 1 plus 0 means what here? The answer is sum is what it is? 1. 1 plus 0 means what? The sum is 1 and carry is what here it is? 0. So this particular 0 is going as the input to this particular OR gate, and this particular 1 is coming here. So 1 plus 0 is what here it is? C out is equal to what it is? 1. Okay. So this is how we implement a full adder. So here, and one more thing, here I have implemented a half adder using a XOR gate and a AND gate. So likewise, many implementations are possible. I told that it's not that always, it's not a universal thing. Like you have to use only XOR gate and a AND gate. You can implement a half adder using an AND gate, NOR gate. Okay, any universal gates you can use, and you can implement this particular half adder as well as full adder circuits. And this is the expression for the sum. Sum is equal to what? A XOR B XOR Cn, and this is the expression for C out. So these expressions we have derived using Karnaugh map. Okay, so that I won't be discussing about these derivations. Okay, so next we will move to the next topic, that is one more combinational circuit, that is multiplexers. Okay. So here while discussing multiplexers, I won't be discussing about this gate table implementations. It will be, it is a very tedious, means it's a very complex circuit to discuss at this particular point of time. So I'll just give you a brief introduction about what actually a multiplexer is. Okay. So multiplexer, what actually a multiplexer means? I can whenever people say talk about a multiplexer, they speak of they'll use one sentence, that is multiplexer means what? Many to one. So what does it mean here? A multiplexer is having many inputs. These are the inputs I0, I1, I2, I3, and Y is what? It is the output. Output, only one output we have, and we have 4 inputs. That's why the sentence phrase many to one. Okay. So this particular multiplexer, I will call it as what? It's a 4:1 multiplexer. What is why the name 4:1 multiplexer? Because it is having 4 inputs and 1 out. And now here these inputs here, S1 and S2, these are nothing but what we call it as what? It is control signals. Now always in a multiplexer there exists some relation exists. Okay, there is some relation between in a multiplexer between the control signals and the input signals. For example, here if I am having 2 control signals means, then the number of the input lines will be what? 2 to the power of 2. 2 to the power of 2 means what? It is 4 input lines. So here 2 control lines are there means what? 4 input lines are there. Suppose if I am having 3 control lines here, S0, S1 and S2. If I am having 3 control signals means how many input lines? 2 raised to 3, that is 8 input lines will be there. Okay, I have a slide for that one. We'll look into that one. So here 2 control signals, 2 control lines are there. Therefore 4 input lines are available. Now you see here one truth table is given here. When the control signals S1 and S0 are both are 0 0, that time what happens? Y, this output Y will be equal to what? It is will be equal to what? I0. Means what I mean to say that the input line I0 will be selected. Okay, the input line I0 will appear as what? It will appear as the output. So suppose if I make the control signals as 1 1, if I make the control signals S1 and S0 as 1 1, then what happens? The input line I3, the input line I3 will be selected as the output. So this particular I3 will appear, will come as the output. Okay, so Y will be equal to what? It is I3. Okay, so this is how using these control signals S1 and S0 we can select the any input lines. So whichever input line you want, you can select. Okay, so this is one 4:1 multiplexer. So I have one more slide for this one 8:1 multiplexer. So in the previous slide, while discussing about 4:1, I told there is some relation is there between the control signals, and the input lines. So here you see here three control lines are there. Okay, control signals, selection lines. You can call it as a selection lines, control lines. Okay, many terminologies are there. Let us need not worry about that one. We are a technical persons. So here three control signals or selection lines are there. S2, S1, and S0. If three selection lines are there, then the number of input lines is what? 2 to the power of 3. 2 to the power of 3 means what? It is 8. So therefore we have total 8 input lines. I0, I1, I2, I3 in this way. Last is what? It is I7. So here I have the truth table for this particular I have the truth table for this one 8:1 multiplexer. Here you can see here when all the selection lines S2, S1, S0 all are 0 0 means what? Then line I0 is selected. Suppose if I give the line selection lines as what? 0 1 1. Okay, if I give this as the signal 0 1 1, then what happens? The line I3 will be selected. If I make all the selection lines as what? 1 1 1 means what? I7 will be selected. If I give the selection lines as what? 1 1 0 means what? Then I6 will be selected. Okay, so this is about the multiplexer. So till now, what is the one thing I told? We are going to discuss a combination circuit and sequential circuit. Okay, so here combination circuit means what? The output depends only on the present state of the inputs. Okay, so next the topic. Now whenever we discuss a multiplexer, the opposite of a multiplexer is what we call it. See, these multiplexers, demultiplexers, they are used in a communication systems. Okay, so now multiplexer, the opposite of a multiplexer is what? It is demultiplexer. Okay, so demultiplexer means what is the one thing? Multiplexer means, I said, it is the many to one. Likewise demultiplexer means what? Here demultiplexer one to many. Okay, so demultiplexer means it is one to many. So here just you can observe. You see, just seeing the block diagram itself, no need to go through the this thing slide. Seeing the slides, I can tell that only one input is there and many outputs are there. Okay, so that's why the name one to many, and multiplexer I will call it as what? Many to one. Okay, so now here this particular, here the input is what? Here the input is what? It's a data here. This particular data I can send it to any of the lines, either to D0, D1, D2, D3. Okay, to any of the lines I can transmit this particular data. Okay, I have the power here. How do I do that? For example, suppose I want to transmit this particular data. Okay, this particular data I to here the D3 line. Okay, so this particular data should reach only D3. Okay, it shouldn't reach D0, D1, D2. Then what should I do? Then I'll give these signals at what? 1 1. I will make S0 and S1 as what? 1 1. If I make 1 1 means what happens? This particular data will reach what? D. Okay, will reach D3. So for example, here you see the truth table here. S0 and S1 both are 1 1. Both are 1 1 means what? Here the input I is what? Here it is 1 is there. So this particular one will reach D3. Here D3 has become 1, and the remaining lines here D1, D2, D0, D1, D2 it has become 0. Okay, so here this particular data, whatever data is available here at the input, I can transmit it to, I can send it to any line, whichever I choose. Suppose if I want to send it to D1, if I want to send it to D1, then I'll make it as what for here data 0 1. I'll make it as 0 1. Then this particular data will appear at this. Okay. So it is so this mux and demultiplexer. These are the very major important components. Okay, important parts in a communication systems. In almost many a times, whenever we are discussing about some word comes about a communication or something related to a frequency, we'll see multiplexing, multiplexing. Okay, there we'll be making use of these circuits. Next, moving to the, so this is one more example, just like I told, 1:4 mux is there. Likewise, one more mux that is present is what it is, 1:8 mux. Here also, there is a relationship is there between the selection lines, and between the output lines. So here, three selections are line. If I am having three selection lines are there, then the output lines is what? 2:3. That is, 8 output lines will be there. Y0, Y0, Y1, Y2, Y3, Y4, Y5, Y6, Y7. Total 8 output lines will be available. Okay, this is about a G multiplex. Okay, now, so this is the truth table for a demultiplexer. Okay, same as the previous case only. Okay, now we'll move to the next topic, that is decoder. Okay, so decoder, what actually a decoder is? Here, this is the block diagram for a decoder. Okay, this particular decoder, I will call it as a 2 to 4 decoder. 2 to 4 decoder means it is having two input lines here, A0 and A1. These are the two input lines, and it is having four output lines. That's why the name 2 to 4 decoder. Now you don't get this E is nothing but it is the enable pin. If this particular enable pin E is equal to 1, then only this particular IC will be functional, or else this particular IC will be, if E is equal to 0 means what does it mean? This particular IC is, it is deactivated, it won't work. Okay, so now here you see here now I'll make E as what? 1. Suppose here if I give the inputs as A1 and A0 as 0 0, if I give the inputs A1 and A0 as 0 0, then the output will be what? I'll get the output as what? 0 0 1. So Y0 will be 1 and the remaining things will be 0. If I give the next combination 0 1 means what? That time what happens here? Y1, this Y1 will become 1 here, and the remaining bits here, Y0 is 0, Y2 is 0, and Y3 is 0. If I give the inputs A1 and A0 as 1, if I give these inputs as 1 1, that time what happens here? The Y3 will become 1 and the remaining bits will become 0. If E is 0 here, if I told here, E is nothing but what? It is the enable. It will activate the, if E is 0 means what does it mean? Then all the outputs will be 0. Y3, Y2, Y1 will be equal to 0. Okay. Now, these are the combinational circuits, that is multiplexers, decoders, encoders, adders. All these are what? Combinational circuits. So combinational circuit means what? Output depends only on the present state of the inputs. Next, we are going to the very important circuit, that is sequential circuit. So here in sequential circuit, so it is very, very important thing. Okay. So anybody see why this particular circuit is, these circuits are very, very important. Suppose you want to study, you want to become, you want to study like 8051 microcontroller or 8086 processor, anything. These are the very prerequisites. Okay, using these circuits, like using these combinational and sequential circuits, we are going to design the processor and microcontroller. So here sequential circuit means what? Output depends on the present as well as what? The past history of the input. So one example, the basic example of basic circuit for sequential circuit is, it is a flip-flop or latch. Okay. See, sometimes there is no much difference between a flip-flop and a latch. Both are what? It's a memory element. Both are what? It's a sequential circuit. Both are memory element. Some small slight difference is there between a flip-flop and a latch, but more or less it is one and the same. The concept wise it remains same. Okay. So flip-flop means what is the one thing? For the first point, if I want to say something about a flip-flop means, the first point what I say is it is a sequential circuit. Okay. The other point is what? Flip-flop or latch, it is one and the same. Okay. It can store only one bit of information. Okay. It is a, I can call the flip-flop is nothing but what? It's a memory element. It can store one bit of information. One bit of information I'm telling you. Either it can store 0 or either it can store 1. Okay. This is about a flip-flop, one bit of information. Now let us see the basic flip-flop. Okay, so I'm telling, please don't get confused with the name flip-flop and latch. Both are one and the same. There are some small slight differences there. So at this particular point, you may need not worry about that particular difference. But concept-wise, working-wise, both are one and the same. Okay. So here the basic flip-flop SR latch. So SR, the name of this particular circuit is what? It's a flip-flop or it's a latch. You can call this particular thing as a flip-flop or latch. Here it is having two inputs R and S, and it has having two outputs Q and Q bar. Okay. We call these outputs as what? Complementary outputs. What is the meaning of a complementary outputs? Suppose complementary outputs means, what does it mean? If Q is 1, then Q bar has to be 0. If Q is 0, then Q bar has to be 1. Both outputs Q and Q bar cannot be same. Like Q and Q bar both are 1, Q and Q bar both are 0. This particular condition has to be avoided. This particular thing won't come into picture. Okay. So here Q and Q bar are what? Both Q and Q bar, these are complementary outputs. Here, whenever we start discussing about a flip-flop or a latch, okay. So two words, whenever the two words are very, very important. One is set, and S stands for what? Set. R stands for what? Reset. Now I'll say that here, this particular flip-flop is set. Set means, what does it mean? Q has become 1. This particular Q has become 1. Reset, I'm telling, reset the flip-flop means what? You have to make this particular Q as what? 0. This is about the flip-flop. Okay. So it has two inputs R and S, and it has two outputs Q and Q. So let us see the two table here. For example, here I'm making here S is equal to 1. I want to set the flip-flop here. I want to set the flip-flop. Set the flip-flop means what? Make Q as what? 1. S is equal to 1 and R is equal to, I'll make it as 0. R means reset. That time what happens? Q will become 1. If Q becomes 1 means what? Q bar will become what? It will become 0. Okay. So now I say that the flip-flop is set. Okay. Now the next input I'll give here. Next input is what here? S is 0 and R is 0. Both R and S I'll make it as 0, 0. When I make both R and S as 0, 0, what happens that time? There is no change in the state. There is no change in the state means whatever the previous state is there. The previous state is what? 1 is there. The same previous state will be retained here also. So Q previously it was 1. Now it has become 1 here also. Previously Q bar is 0. Again it has become 0. Okay. So this is the meaning. Okay. Here what is the one thing? The old information, whatever that particular previous information is there, it is being retained. We are retaining that particular information. Now let us see how to reset the flip-flop. I want to reset this particular flip-flop here. So that time what is the one thing? S is equal to 0 I will give here. And R is equal to what? It is 1. R is equal to 1. When I give R is equal to 1, that time Q will become 0 and Q will become 0 and Q bar will become 1. See here, Q has become 0. Q has become 0 means, then I will say the flip-flop is resetted. It is resetted. So likewise, you see here, again I'll give the inputs as 0, 0 here. 0, 0 means what? No change in the state. Whatever the previous state is there, that previous state I will take it. So here 0, 0. Here 0, 0 is there. So Q is previous state is what it is? 0 is there. So I am taking it as 0. So the old state has been written. And here in this particular SR latch, what is the one thing? You can't give both S as 1 and R as 1. Okay, it is an invalid state. You shouldn't apply these as the inputs. Okay, so this is an invalid state. You can't give both S as 1 and R as 1. See what is happening? If S is 1 means what? You are trying to set the flip-flop. Okay, R is equal to 1 means what? You are trying to reset the flip-flop. There is a conflict is there. So you should avoid this type of conditions. You can't apply these states, S as 1 and R as 1. It's an invalid state and you shouldn't apply this particular input combination to a flip-flop. Okay, understood? So what is the conclusion here that we are drawing here? Flip-flop. S stands for set, R stands for reset. Q and Q bar are complementary outputs. Complementary output means both cannot be same. Both cannot be same. Okay. You can just observe in the truth table here. Here the table I have given. Here one is Q is 1 means Q bar is 0. Q is 0 means Q bar is 1. Okay. So this is the block diagram. Now, and one more thing, what is the thing that I want to tell here? This one flip-flop or one latch, it can store one bit of information, either 0 or 1. Now the question is how to implement it using a gates. I want to implement it using a gates. How do I implement it? So this is the gate level implementation. This is an SR latch, gate level implementation. Using two NOR gates, I am implementing one latch. Okay. So this particular input I will call it as what? Set S, and this is R, Q and Q. Here, what is this particular input here? You can see here from this particular output, a signal is being given as the input here. Okay, this particular path, the path we call it as what? It's the feedback. From the output, we'll give some from the signal from the output is given as the input. This is nothing but what? It's a feedback connection. Likewise, here from this particular output, it is going to this particular input of particular gate. Okay. Now let us see the working of this particular circuit. Okay. Let us see. I'll consider two cases. One is the set condition and another one is a reset condition. I want to set the flip flop. Whenever you want to set the flip flop, always make sure S is 1 and R is 0. That is nothing but what? It's the set condition. So here I am making S is equal to 1 here. Okay. Here I am making S is equal to 1. S is equal to 1 means, see what is the thing here? NOR gate means what? Any one input is 1 means the output will become 0. You may need not worry about the other input. Okay, sir, what is the state of the other thing? So NOR gate feature is what? If any one input is 1 means automatically the output will become 0. So the output has become 0 here. Now this particular 0 will be as the input to this particular OR gate, NOR gate. So 0 plus 0, 0, 0. If both inputs are 0, 0 means happens the NOR gate, the output will become 1. Q has become 1, Q bar has become 0. Now I can say that the flip flop is in a set condition. Okay. Now likewise, one more case we'll analyze, that is reset condition. Okay. So one more case that I would like to analyze is about reset condition. So here I am making reset condition means what? You have to make S is equal to 0 and you have to make R is equal to 1. So how do we start the analysis here? Always what is the one thing, wherever 1 is there, you just look that particular NOR gate. So NOR gate, if any one input is 1 means output will become 0. This particular 0 is given as the input to the second NOR gate. 0 and 0. If both inputs are 0, 0 here, the output will become 1. So it's a reset condition. Q has become 0. So flops, always remember, set condition means what does it mean? Q has become 1. If the output Q has become 1 means it's in a set condition. If the output Q has become means what? 0 means it is a reset condition. And the simple thing, if somebody asks you, how do you set the flip flop? You make S as 1 and you make R as 0, the flop is set. How do you reset the flip flop? You make S is equal to 0 and R is equal to 1. So the names S and R, that's why the name set and reset. Okay. So both the inputs S is equal to 1, R is equal to 1, you shouldn't give. It's an invalid check. If you give S is equal to 1, R is equal to 1, there is a conflict. Okay, now you are trying to set as well as you are trying to reset. This particular condition should be avoided. Okay. So next, one more thing. This is about a latch. So whatever thing I discussed, this is nothing but what? It's a latch. Okay. I told there is a hairline difference between a latch and a flip flop. Okay. Not much difference. The concept remains the same. Flip flop and a latch. Many people sometimes they will call it as a latch flip flop, but a very small difference is there. Okay. In a latch, we won't make use of any clock signal. Here we are not using any clock signal. In flip flops, we will make use of one clock signal. That's the only difference. And the remaining operations same. Flip flop also what happens? Two outputs will be there, Q and Q bar. Two inputs will be there, set and reset. Everything is same. Only thing what happens in a flip flop, we make use of what? The clock signal. So this is the block diagram. Block diagram for a this one RS flip flop. Okay. So here you can see that there is no much difference between a latch and a flip flop. So here also I have two outputs here, Q and Q bar, two outputs. Okay, S and RS, S and R, set and reset. And apart from these things are present even in a latch also, and one clock signal is here. What is the clock signal? So this is the clock signal. Okay, this signal is given here. Okay, so zeros, ones. So digital means what? It is always zeros and one. So zeros here, 0 here, 1 here, 0, 1, 1. Now here what is the one thing? This particular edge I will call it as what? The rising edge. Rising edge means what? The signal is going from 0 to 1. Okay, 0 to 1, this is thing we call it as what? The rising edge of the clock. And this particular thing I will call it as the falling edge. Falling edge of the clock means what? From 1 it is coming to 0. Okay, from this particular point, from this rising edge to the next rising edge, this is nothing but what? One time period. Clock is nothing but what? It's also a clock signal, and here it is having only two states, either 0 or 1. Now here also the same thing, the concept remains the same thing. What is the thing here? In flip-flop, the output will change. The output will change only during the rising edge of the clock, either rising edge or falling edge, it depends. Okay, here we'll stick to only to the rising edge. The output Q will change. The output Q will change only during the rising edges of the clocks. Here at this rising edge and this rising edge. Okay, means the calculation takes place. What is the output? The calculation takes place only during the rising edges of the clock. Okay, so during this particular rising edge, this particular output Q will change. So this particular concept we can understand better by one timing diagram. Let us see one timing diagram here. Okay, so using this particular timing diagram, the things will become very much clearer. Okay, so here you observe here the first one is what? Here it's the clock signal is there. This is the clock signal. This is the rising edge. This is the rising edge. Rising edge. Rising edge means the signal will go from 0 to 1. Okay, now you see here initially the first rising edge you see here. This is the first rising edge. At this first rising edge, S is equal to what? S is equal to 0 and R is equal to 0. S is equal to 0, R is equal to 0 means what? Here it's a no change. The output is initially Q is 0, the Q is 0. It will remain Q is equal to 0. So output Q will become 0 till the next rising edge of the clock. Here the next rising edge of the clock has come here. So during this rising edge of the clock, what is the value of the S? S is equal to 1, R is equal to 0. S is equal to 1 and R is equal to 0 is there. Therefore, it's a set condition. Q will become from what? From 0, it will become 1. Okay. So we are calculating the output will change only during the rising edge of the clock. And Q will remain 1 till the next rising edge of the clock. Till the next rising edge of the clock. You see this rising edge of the clock. At this rising edge of the clock, S is 0, R is 0. S is equal to 0, R is equal to 0 means what? Q will remain 1. Okay. So this is about RS flip-flop. Okay. So here also I told previously there is no much difference between a latch and a flip-flop. So here also S is equal to 1, R is equal to 0 means set condition. R is equal to 1, S is equal to 0 means it's a reset condition. Okay, if you both Q, S and R as 0, 0, it's a no change. Okay, the output, the old state will be written. Okay, what is the only difference? One extra clock signal we are giving. Now again RS flip-flop. Next here many types of flip-flops are there. Okay, so flip-flop here it's this particular flip-flop we call it as what? It's a D flip-flop. Okay. So here in D flip-flop, it is having only one input. It is having one input D, and it has two outputs Q and Q bar. That is complementary. Okay. So here this particular D type flip-flop we call it as what? We call it as a transparent latch. We call it as a transparent. What do you mean by transparent? Transparent means if D is equal to 1, the same Q, then Q will become 1. If you give D is equal to 0, then Q will become 0. So that's why the name D flip-flop means what? It's a transparent latch. Sometimes we call it as a transparent latch. Here also what is the one thing? The output Q will change only during the rising edges of the clock. Whenever a clock signal is present means what? The output will change only during the rising edge of the clock. So during the rising edge of the clock, we will check the input. As per the input, the output will be changed. Okay. So here you can see here the clock, the truth table is given. D is equal to 0 means what? Q is equal to 0. D is equal to 1 means what? Q is equal to 1. And one more thing you can see here clock I have given. This arrow indicates what is the rising edge of the clock. During the rising edge of the clock, whatever the value is present in D, it will be transmitted to Q. Okay. So again, during the rising edge of the clock, D is equal to 1, it will be transferred to Q. Okay. So I hope we'll get a clear-cut understanding once we see the this thing timing diagram. Okay, this is the timing diagram for a D flip-flop. I think the RS flip-flop was a bit complex to understand. I hope this will be a very easier one. Okay, so here you can see the rising edge of the clock comes here. T is equal to what here at the rising edge of the T is equal to 0. Therefore, what happens? Q will become 0. So Q will remain 0 till the next rising edge of the clock. So this is the rising edge of the clock. After this rising edge, this is the second rising edge. Till the second rising edge of the clock, Q is equal to 0. You might see here, T is becoming from 0, it is becoming 1, but output will not change. Output will change only during the rising edge of the clock. So again, you see here, a rising edge of the clock has come. At this rising edge of the clock, what is the one thing? T is 1 here. Automatically Q will become what? It will become 1. Again, Q will become 1. So again, Q will become 1 and it will remain 1. Next rising edge, till the next rising edge, the Q will remain 1. It will remain 1. So here, suddenly D is becoming 0 means Q won't become 0, will remain 1. So here at this rising edge, what is happening now? It is D is 0, therefore what happens? Q will become 0. So what I mean to say that here, what is the one thing that I just want to say? So here the output Q will change only during the rising edge of the clock. During the rising edge of the clock, we will check what is the value of the D. Okay. So during the rising edge of the clock, if D is equal to 1, you transfer that particular 1 to Q. Okay. During the rising edge of the clock, if D is equal to 0, you transfer that 0 to Q. Okay. So this is the significance of the clock. Okay. Only during the rising edges. Now, this is one gate level implementation of this is the gate level implementation of the clock signal. Okay, here what is the one thing here, see here, this is just a block diagram. Suppose if you want to implement it in the lab using some logic gates, so how do you implement it? So these are the things. Okay, so this particular thing, what is the one thing here? This is nothing but what the simple RS latch, SR latch. Okay, two NOR gates. The previously the first very first circuit is what, this is the one thing we have discussed. R and S is there. Okay. So apart from this one, what is the one more thing that we are using here? Here two AND gates we are using here. Okay, and this particular E is nothing but what, enable, or is what, it's the clock signal, and one inverter. Using these particular thing, this is nothing but what, it is a D latch, or you can call it as a D. Okay, so let us consider, see here, always the rising edge means what, during the rising edge the value of the clock is what, it is 1. Okay, so during the rising edge the value of the clock is what, it is 1. So now T is equal to 1 means what, the output Q should be 1. Okay, during the rising edge of the clock. So let us verify, cross check it whether it is working correctly or not, whether this particular circuit is fine or not. So here I have taken E is equal to 1, clock is equal to 1. 1 means what, is the rising edge. So here I have given T is equal to 1 means what is the one thing here, inverter is there, not gate. 1 will become what, 0 here. So if any one input of an AND gate is 0 means what, here the output will become 0. So here R has become 0 here. Now you see here, this AND gate you see here, this particular one will be given as, will come here. This particular one is given as the input to this AND gate. And here this clock signal is what, it is 1. This 1 is given. 1 into 1 is what here? So the S will become what, it is 1. So S is equal to 1, R is equal to 0 means what, it's a set condition. So Q will become 1 and Q bar will become 0. Okay. So this is about the, and here latch, here in the truth table latch they have written now. Latch means what, retaining the old state. Okay, retaining the old state, we call it as what, it's a latch. Okay, so now D flip flop over, and the next one is, and the next one is about the JK flip flop. Okay, these are the very, very important flip flops. So these are the basic blocks. Using these blocks, you will design many complex electronic circuits. Okay, it can be either digital or analog. So JK flip-flop. So here in JK flip-flop, it is somewhat like if it's the same as what RS flip-flop here. Okay. J stands for set condition, K stands for what? It's the reset condition. It just so is JK flip-flop, it's almost same like RS flip-flop. Okay, and two outputs are the Q and Q bar. Okay. So what is the only difference between JK flip-flop and RS flip-flop means what? In RS flip-flop, you can't give 1 1. It's an invalid state. S is equal to 1, R is equal to 1 means what? It's a invalid state. But here in JK flip-flop, you can give J is equal to 1 and K is equal to 1. That invalid state we are eliminating. So here the working of the JK flip-flop. Let us see the working of the JK flip-flop. See here, J means what? It's a set. K is means set. Suppose I want to set the flip-flop Q as 1. J is equal to 1. K is equal to 1. J is equal to 1. K is equal to 0. I'll give means what? Q will become what? Set. J is equal to 1. K is equal to 0 means what? Q will become 1. Here also, what is the one thing? The output will change only during the rising edge of the clock signal. I want to reset means what? J is equal to 0. K is equal to 1. So what happens for J is equal to 0, K is equal to 1 means what? Q will become 0. It's a reset condition. Okay. Now the question is, what is the one difference between a RS flip-flop and a JK flip-flop is? Here you can give both the inputs J as 1 and K as 1. When you give J as 1 and K as 1, that time what happens here? What will be the output? The question is, what will be the output? When you give J is equal to 1 and K is equal to 1, what happens? Output will be what? Complement of the previous state. If the previous state of the Q is 0 means what? Previously Q was 0 means what? Q will become 1. If the previous state of the Q is 1 means what? It will become 0. Okay, it will just complement of it will start toggling. Okay, so here let us assume that Q is equal to 0 previous state, J is equal to 1, K is equal to 1 means what happens here? Q will become 1. Okay, it will become from 0, it will become 1, complement of the previous state. So it can be better understood by a one timing diagram. So this is one timing diagram that I have taken it here. Okay, from the right. Here you can see here this is the clock. See, always remember flip-flops. The output we will calculate the outputs will change only during the rising edge of the clock. In between it won't change. See here at this first rising edge of the clock, J is equal to 0, K is equal to 0 means what? No change. No change means what? Q will remain 0 only. So at the second rising of the clock, at the second rising edge of the clock, what happens? J is equal to 1. K is equal to 0 means Q is becoming 1 and it will remain 1 till the next rising edge of clock. See here, this rising edge of the clock, what is the one thing? J is equal to 1, K is equal to 1. The Q will become what? Complement of the previous state. Previous state is what? Here it is 1 and it will become 0. And this particular process will repeat. Okay, and this is the gate level implementation for a JK. Okay, that's all for the today's session, and the next session will be about counters, registers. Okay, so thank you for listening me patiently. Okay, thank you.